Hello, Artist Corner. Alright. I'm gonna sit down if that's cool with you guys. Okay, alright, good. I thought you'd feel like that.
Lost all respect.
Yeah, I like to get nice and cozy like that. Look at that. Cool. Tonight is a couple of firsts for me. It's actually been a while since I've been on the AQ stage. I've been hiding in the crowd and stuff. But I got some poems. They are small, but can I get a round of applause for anybody who is a writer in the stage? You can write anything. Yeah, okay. Yes, we got a lot of writers. So if you're a writer, I think you might appreciate that every once in a while you have this thing that people call a writer's block. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then every once in a while you have this thing where you have a writer's block for a whole year, and that is like a writer's death or something.
Boyfriend.
It's a what? A boyfriend.
It's called a boyfriend.
It is. Those words are synonymous. I'd say so.
I love that's the best part of the night.
A cock, yeah, I'm gonna send that around. It is a cock block, man. All right, so when you have a writer's death or whatever, you got these few little things. You can't write for a whole year, but you got these few little things that will kind of rise to the top of the flood. So that's what I got for you. These few little things from the past year. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna start. I went on a trip after I graduated college. I had the privilege to backpack around Europe for a couple of months. It was rad. It was really sweet. So we're going on a little trip right now. I'm gonna take you to a couple places, and we're gonna start off in Amsterdam. And as we know, in Amsterdam, marijuana is it's legal to just smoke it wherever you want to smoke it. So I had never been out of the country before, and I don't speak any
America.
I don't speak any European languages, and I'm in Amsterdam, and I'm really high, and that's a little overwhelming. So I was in a train station, and I wrote this. If you didn't know, train stations are really loud, so this is just kind of what I wrote.
While you were high?
While I was high, yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
So we'll see what came out of that. So
Everything I write is
yeah, all right, all right.
Status quo.
Ringing, ear-pulsing buzzes, water echoes, left ear. Unidentifiable female voice speaking muffled, hidden Dutch bells. Some metal hitting metal, shaking metal, vibrating through the air. Work, work. Someone is scratching the back of this beast, great marbles across the roof, but it's cold here. Lamps burning orange-white on the trains, gray city night, station bench with luggage between my knees. In a strange movie here. What a scene here. Train waiting, cold fingers and all, eating caramels till stomach ache. Thank you.
That must be some good shit.
Huh?
That was some good
It was some good shit, yeah. You'd be surprised what you can find in Amsterdam,
Want to smoke a blunt later?
Yeah, well, I'll hit you up. All right. But okay, I got another one from
Take me
Amsterdam.
after the show.
Good night.
Look at all these new friends I made. All right, so here's another one from Amsterdam. All right. An old woman in a kimono against a crowd of walking light rain. And Anna Frank, lost somewhere in the streets, Alvaro talks magic and booming in aquariums. Tells me a little about Peru. Divided by laughing street performers and coffee shops that don't sell coffee, Amsterdam is gone in a second. Bustling and crawling in my mind, it is attention, madness, familiar strangers and red shutters. It took the long train to see, and once again back here, the train station I wrote this. It was late. September, Holland, purple, gray sky blurring behind the glass and the beams. Thank you. I've got just a little tiny one about Paris. When I took this trip before I did it, I was like, oh, I'm going to write a poem every day. I'm going to write a poem for every city. And I wrote 3 poems, and I saw 35 cities, so it tells you how much work I did. This is a very small one about Paris. Lots of weed, not so many poems.
So it even that.
Yeah, you know, you win some, you lose some, right? Yeah. So. All right, so this is a very small one about Paris. It is a sycamore spot mostly. The trunks painted with splotches of camouflage all the way up to the ears. The packed subway cars and stony streets by the vineyard. I am more sycamore than American here. It is a wine-stained ink blot usually, drenched red near the walls of La Seine. Thank you. Okay, I got a couple more. I have this one poem that, you know, I kind of like. I don't know if it'll mean anything to anybody else. Oh wait, I should read this other one first. I've got one more from my trip. I'll read that and then I'll get to this thing I like that nobody else will like.
I'll like it.
Hey, wait, who said that?
Surprise.
Oh, you guys are so nice tonight. It's good to be back on stage.
I don't smoke weed though.
Well, you know, that's okay.
Fuck
you got it, you know.
I'll do
we'll
his
get
share.
you there. We'll get you there.
I'll do his share.
All right, okay, people got it.
I know Shabazz, so I can say that.
So when part of my trip, I got to go down to Morocco, which was fucking awesome. Yeah, it was really cool. And you know, we didn't have a lot of money because, well, I did the first half of myself, second half with a friend. We didn't have very much money, but we splurged on one thing because we really wanted to see the desert. So we took a camera ride through the Sahara, and it was just amazing. And we stayed up all night and laid on top of the sand dunes with these young Arabic men, and it was really nice. So it was real nice. No, so this is my little poem about that. When I was 21, I stepped headfirst into a sand dune. Tiny grains spilling, shaking from my ears. He, comfortable and easy here, wraps a blanket around shoulder to shoulder. Relaxed palms and knuckles wrap 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Which starts the wind to jumping higher and stronger than camel feet, grunting and boxing at each other. Is it Lazarak? Mimoun? Les étoiles completely covering La Lune? Dreaming Sahara is too patient, too longing, too malud, sleeping with camel dust and starry blankets. I sink. Sand dune first this time, behind the tent walls, tired and dreaming. Thank you. Okay, on to this other one. So, you know, we all have relationships in our lives, right? You know, if you don't have, I'm sorry, you'll get there, but most of us, you know, you have these relationships, and sometimes you break up with people and you're like, yeah, that person was a jerk, and I'm happy we're done. And sometimes you break up and you're like, oh man, you know, I was the jerk. That sucks. So I had a relationship where I was the jerk, but I didn't realize it till later. So
I've never heard that.
That's
No one ever
good.
tells that side of the story.
I'm the jerk. Yeah, it's me. So
It's always the other person. I'm proud of you.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, story of his life, you know.
I'm generally the jerk.
So I had this poem that I wrote in 2009, right when I first started seeing him, and then I've got this poem I wrote, you know, in 2012, so several years after it was over, or like a year after it was over. So it's the first half and then the continued second half. I'm gonna get it ready. Okay. Alright. It's in cursive, so it's gonna be hard. There was this one time, like many I had read about in the pages of some yellowed book, but never truly experienced. I was wild and my hair stood on end, the sky was made of water, and every time I took a step, my foot sunk deep into the underbelly of a slug or two. Or maybe many more than that. I found myself in the forest, only to stumble upon the last thing I ever expected to see in this surrounding, a tree. I was always drawing them so to some extent I was not surprised but rather giggly. I was altered, fake enthusiasm spurred by a chocolatey promise, I took the time to staple a few dollars to the branches of said tree and wandered away. Stirring deep in the forest, I smirked to myself about the idea of a money tree. It now existed, right? Of course. As time went on, as it most usually does, I sauntered back to the tree. 3 years had passed since I first found myself in that hysterical forest. Now lost and exhausted, I couldn't tell a rubber plant from mahogany, and I sure as hell couldn't find that money tree anymore. The dollar had blown away in the wind or the tornado, whichever came first, or in between now and then, but every third Monday I mourned that tree by handling the $3 bills stuck between the lips of my wallet. That's not a sexual metaphor, but it can be if you want, because that kind of makes sense too. In the town, they call me a tree hugger, but they don't mean it like I wear too many Grateful Dead t-shirts. They mean it in the most literal sense. I try to tell them that I just hug them now so that I can pay attention. Let their rough bark feel welcomed and pray that one day I run into a staple. Thank you. I have just one left. I just moved out of a place, but the place I lived in had a view of Minneapolis skyline. That's sweet, right? I've never had a view before. And, but, you know, it's not a mountain, it's not a lake, it's this Minneapolis skyline, so it's beautiful, but it, you know, strikes up some things in your mind sometime. You know, you start thinking about corporations and what all of that means. So one day I woke up and I wrote this. The buildings looked shorter this morning, pushed down like giant slinkies to the ground, ready to spring back at any moment. They seemed to be buzzing with activity. Each little hive of elevators dinged softly, roofs cut jagged little lines into where gray sky meets gray ground. I've never had enough reason or dollars to see the insides, but I imagine I wouldn't want to anyway. Tall and looming, they demand adoration like giants walling the city, but who can blame them, really? In the night you can see them shining, bouncing back light between them like some sort of mirror tag, tiny children craning their necks from the bottom, trying to count how high they reflect. They reflect. It is the power of being untouchable, uncountable, and attractive. The buildings look smaller this morning. It's an idea I had in a dream. Thank you.
Nice.